There are people who wrote their first book at 96. There are people who started a career at 76 and became known to the whole world. So why do you think it's too late for you? Too late to start, too late to dream, too late to do something truly great for yourself. At age 60, 70, when many people say, just rest now, is also when we might start doubting our own abilities. But if I told you about them, they once thought exactly like you that it was already too late. The only difference is they didn't just stop at that thought. They chose to try and find, and that very choice changed the rest of their lives entirely. Today's video is all about people just like that, ordinary and humble. But at the age people often call their twilight years, they chose to shine their light one last time and left an indelible mark. If you've ever thought you were late, then please stay. Because who knows, perhaps today you will discover that you still have plenty of time to start. If this truly resonates with you, perhaps a like or subscribing helps us continue this journey together, because I truly believe their stories could be the very inspiration for your own new chapter. Let's begin. First case, the one unknown for 60 years, who became an icon after just one time not giving up. Have you ever thought, if by 70 you still haven't done anything truly outstanding, then perhaps your life is, well, over? That youth has passed, opportunities are gone, and all that's left is to maintain good health. But then there are stories that step in like a gentle touch and make all definitions of too late simply vanish. Anna Mary Robertson Moses, or as the entire United States knew her, Grandma Moses, was once a simple housewife living on a small New York farm. For over 70 years, she was not known by any special title or distinction. She raised her children, did her housework, and lived a very simple life. Until arthritis then prevented her from doing the manual labor she had always done. Instead of simply giving up, she picked up a paintbrush and started to paint. She was 76 then. No one thought an elderly woman's paintings could ever make such a splash. But these rustic American countryside paintings, so full of vibrant life, holding the memories and colors of an experienced soul, quickly touched millions of hearts. Only a few years later, Grandma Moses became an American folk art icon, exhibited all around the world, her paintings printed on national postage stamps, and her name recorded in art history books. She didn't attend art school, had no startup strategy. She simply didn't give up when her body began to reject the things once familiar. And instead of resisting, she quietly chose a new path, right where people thought it was surely the end. You see, 76 years old and too late. It's just simply another time to start over again, in a completely different way. And if you're still alive, still have eyes to behold, hands to create, even if trembling, then you still have something more you can write, though small, though no one knows yet. Because one very small action, if sown at just the right moment, can truly blossom in an unexpected spring, just as Grandma Mappa did. Next up, the one called past his prime, yet who transformed an industry in his later years. Have you ever had someone tell you outright or just silently think that, at this age, what else can you possibly do now? Sounds sad but familiar. Because in today's society, older people are so easily considered past their prime now. No longer agile, no longer suitable, no more chances to compete. And many people start to believe that it's true. But then, one old man didn't believe. Colonel Harlan Sanders, the founder of the globally famous KFC fried chicken chain, didn't find success at age 30. Nor was it at age 40 or 50. He began building his fried chicken empire at the age of 65. Before that, he'd failed with gas stations, small diners, had lived on Social Security, and only had one fried chicken recipe in hand. At an age when many people set everything aside, he drove all over America pitching to restaurants. Would you perhaps like to try my chicken recipe? He was rejected over 1,000 times. But he didn't stop because he didn't think he was past his prime. He just thought the right person hadn't seen him yet. And then, finally, his chicken recipe was accepted. From one small shop, KFC developed into a nationwide franchise chain, then became truly global. By the end of his life, the image of Colonel Sanders with his white beard, his kind smile, and distinctive suit, became a timeless icon. No one can decide if your dream is too big for your age or not, except you yourself. And sometimes that so-called past your prime is just someone else's label. But you, if you still have fire inside, still have something to offer the world, then age 65 or bomb is just a number on the calendar. You don't need to start all over. Just simply start from right where you're standing, because the world out there is sometimes just waiting for someone who dares knock on that 1,001st door. Case 3, the person with nothing left in her hands, yet created a legacy that touched millions. Have you ever felt you've missed the chance to do something great? That if you were younger, healthier, had more time, perhaps you would have written a book, opened a small shop, or recounted your life story for someone to listen? Actually, it's not that you lack ability, it's just that you think, who wants to listen anymore? But then some people have indeed proved the very opposite. Laura Ingalls Wilder, the name linked with the children's book series Little House on the Prairie, was by no means a young writer who achieved fame early on. She began writing at age 65 when most of her friends had long since stopped dreaming. For many long decades, Laura simply lived like so many other country women, farming, raising children, and keeping her diaries. But when she grew older, her daughter, also a writer, encouraged her mother to transform those memories into stories. She began writing with an ink pen on ordinary student notebook paper. No one truly believed that a retired elderly woman could actually publish a book. But then her book, Little House in the Big Woods, came out, and it became a phenomenon. Not due to its complex literature, but because it was authentic, sincere, simple, and it contained memories of an America without any electricity, without cars, yet with values that never grow old: family, kinship, simple kindness. Laura's series of books touched millions of readers, children and adults alike, was adapted into films, and passed down through many generations. She started with absolutely nothing in her hands but her memories. But those very memories, when retold with such love, became a true legacy. So if you are sitting there now thinking it is too late to tell your own story, remember this: the deepest stories are usually not written by the young, but by those who have lived, lost, loved, and regretted, and who dared to then retell. Because, when you tell with a heart that has journeyed through time, your words will find who needs to hear them. And finally, the one who lived silently an entire lifetime, yet left an indelible mark, thanks to one late choice. Have you ever asked yourself, at this late stage, who wants to hear my story now? Perhaps you've lived a full life as a father, a mother, a grandparent, but never thought your own story was worthy of being told. Nothing thrilling, nothing at all glamorous, just the many long years passing by in silence. And yet someone who also thought just like you tried telling their story once, and that one single time made the whole world listen. Harry Bernstein, an elderly man living in New Jersey, spent most of his life in quiet obscurity. He worked in the publishing industry, lived modestly, lost his wife after over 60 years of marriage. When she passed, he was nearly 94 years old. He said, "I simply couldn't bear the silence of the empty house, so I began to write." And so he sat down at his old, worn dining table and wrote of his childhood, of the walls separating Jews and Christians in a small English town where he'd grown up early in the last century. He called his book The Invisible Wall, an invisible wall dividing two communities, but also the very wall he himself had overcome, with love, with memory, and with the telling from a heart once broken. He published his very first book when he was 96, and it became a phenomenon. Not because he wrote any better than others, but because he wrote truthfully, with the profound depth of a life that had fully ripened. Readers cried, hugged the book, wrote letters to him. People didn't just read his story, but also read the belief that it's never too late to speak up. Harry didn't just tell it for himself. He told it for all those who had ever thought they were too late. If you find yourself quiet amidst a noisy world, remember this: Sometimes things that touch others most deeply don't come from youth, but from a heart that has aged enough to understand. And if you start telling, whether at 70, 80, or 96, it might be the most valuable thing you've ever left behind. Perhaps you're sitting all alone on one slow afternoon, looking back on your life and wondering, is there anything else I can still do? The answer is yes. You've just heard about people who went so much further in life after 60, not because they're more special than you, but because they didn't let other people, or a mere number on paper, define the end for themselves. Grandma Moses painted her very first painting at 76. Colonel Sanders launched his chicken empire at 65. Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote down America's memories from 65 onwards. And Harry Bernstein recounted his tear-filled childhood at 96. They didn't rush. They didn't try to act young. They simply just started, with those things truly close to their own hearts. If you have an unspoken idea inside, a small thing you have never tried, a story that's never been told, then that is precisely what's waiting to be revived by you. Old age isn't the end. It's just a quieter chapter, but it can be more profound than any part that came before. If any story in today's video truly resonated with you, please share it, or perhaps add your own story in the comments section below. Who knows, you might just inspire someone else, just as they have now inspired you. And if you want to continue being reminded that you are never too late, then hit like and subscribe so that we can meet again in another video and another new beginning at an age that no one would ever truly expect.